Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, your place for news and gameplay. Some good, some bad, and let's be honest, likely some rage and tilting. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell for notifications. In today's episode, we're taking a look at the update 5.1, which actually came into Android yesterday, but they didn't turn on the new features until today, and that would be the three new modules, the Anticontrol, the Death Mark, and the Advanced Repair Unit, as well as the big feature of the pilots. So I've been scouring the internet, watching a few videos, doing some analysis in the update itself, playing some games, and I've accumulated some information that I just wanted to pass along. So first off, let's get started with the modules and give you my take on them to start with. So for instance, if we go into my bot here, we'll just look at the areas quickly here, and let's look at the Death Mark. So if I go into the active modules and I look at the Death Mark, it will increase the damage that anybody does to a player that is actually been quote unquote death marked. Now I view this as being actually a niche module in the sense that I don't think many people are going to be running it and mark somebody across the field for a teammate and use this over having a healing module, a lockdown ammo, or quantum radar for yourself. I just don't see that happening. What I do see potentially people using this for are things like a Spectre Vortex or a Falcon running thermites. Something where you can actually mark down the player before your Vortex of thermites hits them. Now, for those people who are running those builds, I really don't see them running this that often, because if you look at the power cells, it costs 40 power cells to use, which is actually twice as much as using a repair unit or a lockdown ammo, or even the quantum radar. So if we look at the quantum radar here, if we go back, you notice it's 20 power cells. So really, for such a niche module, and the fact that it costs twice as much as the other modules that we currently are used to, I don't see this being used very much in the field. Now, however, we go to Anticontrol, and this is a passive module. So if you look at the passive modules, we go to the store, and we come over here to Anticontrol, and we look at the details of it. It's immunity for 5 seconds, and it has a cooldown of 5 seconds. So the first hit will grant you the immunity and then the cooldown. So essentially you'll, for about 10 seconds, well, for 5 seconds you'll have immunity, and then the next 5 seconds you could theoretically get hit and locked down or suppressed, and then after the 10 seconds are up, your module will kick in again. Now, I think this is a mistake. A module that counters all lockdown weapons, the Shredder, Pulsar, Glory, Halo, Corona, as well as the suppression of the Raker, the Blitz, and the Invader, it's actually too much. I think what Pixonic is trying to do here is to nerf some of these items, so nerf the lockdown weapons, nerf the suppression. But if that's the case, they really should be dealing this on a build by build, bot by bot, weapon by weapon situation. It's called balancing, and not nerf the heck out of everything just because of one single module. Only time will tell, but the uses I see this going to happen is in free-for-all. You'll most likely put it on all your bots. So those who run free-for-all and are getting locked down constantly, you'll see them on almost all 5 of their bots likely will have Anticontrol. For those running in full squads, such as using Beacon Rush, they will likely only put the Anticontrol on one of their bots. This will be the one that they use their first wave for. So their Beacon Runners, their Strider, excuse me, or their Hellburners. They'll use Anticontrol so they can get to that center beacon and not get locked down by the time they get there. Right now, a lot of people, the way they play squads is to try to lock down these waves coming in before they can get that center beacon, then they can activate it or capture it themselves. Now with the Anticontrol, you won't have that ability to lock down the enemy before they get to that center beacon. So I see that's being used as a first wave. As for random games, the meta will dictate. I do suspect that the norm will be, especially in the higher Champion League, will be for the combination of Anticontrol and Last Stand will be the meta. Now if we go back and we look at the Advanced Repair Unit, which is the third module. So if we go over here to the Advanced Repair Unit, it is free. You can equip it. I've heard people say previously they were assuming it was going to cost gold, just like the passive models cost gold. But no, it is free. The only difference is, like the Death Mark, this costs 40 power cells, so it's twice as much. However, if you look at the details, the repair duration is 4 seconds and the cooldown is 20, and it's 10% hit points a second. So you can, according to this, heal your bot with 40% of its health. Put that on tanks. This is where I see this is going to be used mostly, are on things like the Invader or the Fenrir or the Bulwark. Things that can actually have quite a bit of HP to it, and so that when you're using your power cells, even though it costs twice as much, you are healing quite a large sum of hit points. Put this on an Invader that has max level 12 Mark II, has max 3 times heavy armor kits, and it's already hard enough to kill as it is, and put this on it, those Invaders are going to be darn near impossible to kill. So if you, excuse me, sorry about that. So if you compare that to the regular repair unit, it has a 5-second repair duration, and it does half the hit points. And so it really doesn't matter if you would, for instance, use a repair unit twice, or you use the advanced repair unit once. That's why I think the advanced repair unit will be used on the tank so they can heal a whole bunch of HP all at once. Now that's it for the modules. At least for me, I use modules sparingly. I've never really liked the idea of them, and I try not to use them. The only times I do use the modules is if I think it could change the course of a match from a loss to a win, or if I just happen to be having one of those spectacular games and I just want to keep it going. But other than that, I try not to use my modules, and I don't think this will change the way I play modules going forward. Now, let's get into the pilots discussions here, okay? So, for myself, you can see I have my Ares here, and I do happen to have the legendary pilot. I was able to get her. Now, my assumption, for at least from the test servers, because I tried to use the training center to get an additional legendary pilot, and I wasn't able to do it. I thought it was going to be very hard to get these. In reality, it only took me 5 or 6 refreshes of 50 gold to pull up the legendary pilots. So I got her, and I got Kyle Rogers. I know a lot of people aren't going to use Kyle Rogers, especially in the upper leagues. Inquisitors just aren't being used. I'm an expert too. I do have an Inquisitor. I use it. So when Kyle Rogers came up, I got him. And I did want Minji here for my Ares. Now, if we look at the pilots, legendary pilots, compared to the regular pilots, the legendary pilots are more expensive. To hire a legendary pilot from the training center, it costs 2,500 gold, versus a regular pilot somewhere under 300 gold. And the regular pilots, when they come in, sometimes they have levels already associated with them. I was able to pick up a couple that were one level 7, one level 9, and one level 10, I believe. So they cost a little bit of gold, but around 200 to 300 is where I paid for those ones. Now, the thing is, though, you can speed up the progress with these. So you'll notice here that I can boost Minji here for 23 gold to try to get her up various levels. And at every 10 level increment, the boost cost goes up. So right now it's 23 gold for me if I wanted to try and rush her. If I go and look at one of my non-legendary pilots, so on my Kumio here, for instance, if I look at him, it costs me 43, but that's because he's already at level 10. So if I go to, let's see here, my Pursuer. My Pursuer only has one at level 7. So you see, my boost here is only 3. I don't have to pay 3 gold if I want to get her up to level 8, which I'll do right now just to show. And right now it's a boost of 30 to get up the next level. I've seen, I'm still trying to figure out all the numbers of exactly what it is right from when you don't have any experience. As you noticed, it was 3 gold, but that was because I was almost all the way to level 8. So at level 8 now, when I don't have any experience, I need 65. To get the full 65, it costs 30 to go ahead and do. So if I go back here, if I go back to the Ares, and I look at her, and it costs me 23. So if I boost her, goes up, and it costs the exact same amount, at least below level 10. I don't know how it is in upper levels, but from scratch, going from needing 65 experience, it doesn't matter whether it's a legendary pilot or a regular pilot, it still costs the same amount of gold to boost. Or in other words, they call it boost, but it's really just to rush a level of a pilot. Now, here's where things get a little bit more interesting. Well, actually, before I go there, I want to make one other comment, and it's you don't have to rush these pilots to gain experience. You gain experience just by using them in normal gameplay. As long as your pilots are equipped in a bot that's in your hangar, all pilots, regardless if you use them in a battle or not, will receive the experience. So if you have 5 pilots equipped in your 5 bots, but you only use 3 of your bots in a battle, all 5 will gain the experience towards leveling up that you gained throughout that battle. Now, once you get a pilot in here training up, once you get it to level 10, you have to do something what's called promote the pilot. You have to promote it to the next sequence of leveling up 10. So if you look at the skill list here, you'll see skill at level 11, 21, 31. These are all the various promotions. So when you promote a pilot, you unlock a skill trait. So from what I've seen, I haven't gotten any of my legendary pilots up to the promotion amount, but I've seen other people get their pilots up to at least level 10, and it costs them 1,000 gold in order to promote. Now on the test server, this cost increase with each 10 level increment. So if I remember correctly, it was something like 1,000 gold at level 10, it was 1,500 gold at level 20, and so on and so forth. Now, up on the test server, we could only go up to level 30. Now, this one, you can go up to level 61. So you do the math. If there is an incremental cost per gold per 10 level increments in order to do the promotions, you're going to have to spend quite a bit of gold just to promote your pilots all the way through up to level 61. It could be quite possible that each promotion is only 1,000 gold. I don't know. I haven't gotten there yet, so take that with a grain of salt. But so we know it's 1,000 gold to promote a legendary pilot. So let's go over and look at one of my non-legendary pilots. So this one's already at level 10 on my Kumio, so he's already been promoted. I bought him that way, so I don't know what the cost of promotion is. But I have one here someplace. So let's just change my robots. I think on here on my Al Guang, I have a level 9. So if I go into that pilot, let's just see. I'll boost him up to level 10 and see what the cost is to actually promote him. So once it finishes it here, it says it's at level 10 here. I should be able to promote, so I don't know what's going on here. Okay, well, I'll have to play with this a little bit more. I don't want to keep spending gold. I want to save my gold for the future, so I really don't know what the cost is in order to promote. What the heck? This is for the video, so let's do it one more. Boost it up. Okay, so there we go. So it's 500 gold to promote a regular pilot, whereas it's 1,000 gold to promote a legendary pilot. So let's go back here then. So that's one significant difference there. You're paying twice as much gold going forward to promote your legendary pilots over your regular pilots. Now, people are probably wondering, well, really, what is the benefit for the legendary pilots? Well, there really is only one true benefit, and that has to do with skill slots. So if I happen to look at my my Kumio here, just go in here, you'll notice that I have up to level 61. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can have up to, looks like 7 skills. But if I go over to my legendary pilot, this I don't understand. It's also 7 skills. So you have a legendary pilot, at least according to what I see here. You have a legendary pilot that has 7 skills. you have a non-legendary pilot, a regular pilot that has the capability of having 7 skills. And the only difference is that the legendary pilots come unique to a bot or build setup. For instance, the Minjin here has an Ares deals increased weapon damage for 30 seconds after reaching 50% durability. It's a unique skill, and it's unique only to those legendary pilots. Here's the downfall. What if they nerf the Ares? I'm now stuck with having a pilot that, yes, I could transfer her to another bot, but it has a unique skill that's only for the Ares. So I am now losing a skill. So I've gone down from having 7 skills that I can use down to only 6 skills I can use. Whereas the other pilot here, go back to the Kumio, I have 7 skills I can use. That's not tied into a specific bot or weapon. And I'll get to that in a minute, about being tied in. But in theory, I can move this to another bot weapon setup combination, and I'd be fine. The caveat here with either legendary or the regular ones is that you do have to retrain your skills. When you actually train a skill, what it does is it will give you a skill that's specific to your setup. So if I look at my Pursuer here, I've trained 1 skill already, and it says Guidance Operator for the Pursuer, and the Pursuer locks onto targets faster. So if I go to decide I want to move this pilot to another bot, if it's not a Pursuer, I have to click that retrain button and retrain all the skills I've learned. Now, if I click the retrain here, I can pick a random skill for 50 gold, and it'll go through and it'll randomize and pick a skill for whatever robot and weapon combination I have on the bot that this particular pilot is equipped on. Or I can go to the skill list and I can pick an individual one that I really want for the cost of 1,000 gold. So when you're setting up your pilots, you want to make sure you have them equipped on the bot you want, and that you're training the skills for the end game, for what you want to have it set up for. It really isn't very beneficial to have to be swapping pilots back and forth. You can put a pilot on a different bot. So I've done that here. I just want to show you that you can do it. So if I go to my Mender here, and I look at the pilot I have equipped on here, she was originally equipped on my Kumio. But just for purposes of showing this video, I equipped her on the Mender. And you'll notice there's that triangle, red triangle over top of the skill with an exclamation mark in it. That skill is disabled. Why? Because it says it's Adamant Guardian for the Kumio. I put her on my Mender. So this skill is null and void until I actually go ahead and retrain it and spend the gold to do so. So like I said, you have to be conscious of using your bots and the pilots and the weapons combination. Put the pilots on the end bots you want to level up and that you want to actually have those skills for. Now, why would you ever want to do what I just did here? Well, if you just have me running a hangar, having some fun, but you want to still make sure you're leveling up or gaining the experience for the pilots you're going to use almost regularly, you can throw the pilots on these bots just to gain the experience. But what you have to make sure you do is before you hit that promote button. So if I go back to I can't remember which one it was. Oh, it was on the Al Guang, right? So if I go back to the Al Guang and I hit that promote button, what it does automatically is it will randomly pick a skill to put in here. So if I happen to have this pilot thrown on, say, a Griffin or something, I'm just playing around, but I want to still gain the experience, and I forget to put this pilot back on my Al Guang, I will then automatically get a skill for the weapon setup and the Griffin that I have this pilot currently equipped on, which is not what I want to do. So if you happen to be swapping pilots back and forth, make sure you put the pilot back on the bot you, in the end, want it on before you hit that promote button, so that the skill that's randomly generated is specific to that bot and those weapons that you're going to be using it mainly on. So just keep that in mind. So, are legendary pilots worth it? No, not at all. And I think you can understand my reasoning as I go through here, but let's just summarize it. Think of it this way. While legendary pilots give you an additional skill, supposedly a unique skill, it's only for the specific bot. And if that bot is nerfed, and you're hence no longer want to play the bot, what are you going to do with the pilot? You can move it to another bot, but it's a unique skill that cannot be retrained, so you're losing a skill right off the bat. And going to look at the skills list, it looks like you can have 7 skills for the legendary pilots, and that includes the unique one, or 7 skills for the regular pilots that doesn't have a unique one. So would you want a legendary pilot that now it's against a bot that's nerfed, and you move it to another bot that you have to retrain all the skills, and you can't get access to that other one skill because it's unique? Or would you rather have a regular pilot where you have the full list available that you can retrain, and hence make it compatible with the robot and the weapons you have on it? So, as I was mentioned, yes, you can transfer it to another bot. You'll still have to retrain all your skills, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. But you'd have to do the same thing regardless of whatever pilot you have, legendary or regular. And because these builds learned are build specific, you do have to retrain. And as I was mentioning this, for the Ares, you have at least I have, the Ares does increase weapon damage as an option. It doesn't say a robot has increased weapon damage. It has the Ares, and you saw that when I showed you on my Mender, that the skill specifically said Kumio, even though I had moved it from a Kumio to my Mender. So if you move that pilot to another bot, a Mercury, the skill would always say, in this example that I was using with the Ares, it would say Ares does increase weapon damage, not the Mercury does increase weapon damage. So anyways, so that is my thoughts right now. I would say, given the fact that if you have to move pilots around and you have to retrain, legendary and regular pilots all have 7 skills, it looks like. You're just going to lose a skill set. And on top of that, the cost for the legendary pilots at 2,500 gold just to hire versus up to about 300 gold for a regular pilot. You're saving 2,200 gold right there. To promote, it costs you twice as much to promote with gold a legendary pilot than it does with a regular pilot. And in actuality, you're not getting any benefit from the legendary pilots at all. You're getting that one unique skill that takes up 1 of your 7 skill slots. The regular pilots also have 7 skill slots, and you can choose what skills you want. So in the end, there isn't any significant reasoning why you would want the legendary pilots. I went through and I got the Kyle Rogers and the Minji for the Ares because partially I was assuming that the legendary pilots would have some significant benefit. But after analyzing what's here, the gold, the cost, and seeing some other YouTube videos, I'm actually regretting buying them now. I've probably put in about 6,000 gold, getting the 2 legendary pilots, as well as refreshing the training center in order so that I could actually hire or find some legendary pilots to hire. I think it was a complete waste of my gold, to be perfectly honest. Unless things change in the future and Pixonic does some more balancing on the weapons, I would highly recommend to anybody out there listening to this, avoid legendary pilots. Just go with the regular ones. You're going to get the 7 skills that you want. You get to choose the ones you want, and they are more movable to other bots if you happen to have to do so. Yes, you have to retrain, but you're not losing that one slot because it's built into the pilot. It's unique only to a specific bot. So those are my thoughts. Anyways, if you like this video, please leave a comment below. Let me know if there's any constructive criticism. And until next time, cause some mayhem in the field for me.